Chris, how was your pee break?
My pee break.
They might flash you unattended.
Random, baby.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me. Quite an intro.
Let's address the elephant in the room. That's not the elephant in the room. There's no elephant. Nobody cares.
I too am a thought criminal. Good. Well, I like you already.
Does this look like a girl who's joking around?
No.
But how much do you actually understand money? Especially the new wave.
Beauty or intelligence? When you unleash both, it is men's kryptonite. Welcome to Talk to Me, Taylor. What is up, everybody? I have an afternoon delight for you. You know, whatever you want to call it. Maybe you are balls deep. I don't know if that's the best way to describe it, but whatever. Maybe you're balls deep in my guests backstage appreciate it. Okay, I see them laughing. So if you didn't, then your ass is just a square. Maybe you are deep in the Iran, Lebanon, Israel, US news. Maybe you're in the Alex Cooper, Alex Earl, like that whole cluster, hot mess, that whole thing. And so we are going to come up for air, give you a breath of fresh air today. That's what we do here. And we are going to have, you know, as we do from time to time, but I have a feeling today is going to be a different flavor when it comes to the real AI combo. I know everybody is like wigging out. They're scared it's coming for your wigs, your jobs, your man, all your stuff. Well, I have, I'm so glad these jokes that I'm just literally pulling out of my ass are landing well with the ladies backstage. We have the right company for this. And, you know, I've worked with a multitude so far of AI companies. And I have to say, I feel like these guys may be like one of the most fun. These are some head honchos over at Twin Protocol, also working closely with Angel AI. You guys may remember I had Pavana Garwal, the founder of Angel, on a few months back. But we are joined today by Stacy, the Twin Protocol CEO, and Jordana. Hang on, ladies. I'm trying to do like a dramatic entrance here. Who is the VP of operations and who is often like the brains behind the operation, you know, backstage, but we're bringing her to the forefront. And so, ladies, welcome to Talk to Me, Taylor. Look at these faces.
Thanks for having us.
I love it because I'm so excited because we had our first kind of meeting offline. And look right on time. Look who's backstage, Rob Nelson. That's okay. We're gonna make him wait just a second.
Let's do it.
All men want what they can have. So we're just going to make him hold out a little bit on this date here. But yeah, we all met offline and we were like, this is the shit that needs to be broadcast. And just out of the gate, I'm sure people are already thinking this. Looking at you two, let's be real. When you think Silicon Valley, AI, big tech ventures, you don't think that these are the faces of that because it's like tech bro land central, right?
Totally.
So is that your experience, even in the day-to-day, in meetings? Is it kind of a superpower that you're like, yeah, bitch, I am running Twin Protocol? Like, tell us the tea of, you know, your experience. Don't hold back.
I mean, I think you should use it as a superpower, so we do. And it's interesting because I wasn't in technology before AI, and now the whole landscape is so different. I think it's a superpower. There's still a lot of men. That's like part of our mission. That's what we were talking about, getting people who don't look like tech bros talking about some of the insane ways that they talk about AI, which I'm sure we'll get into that because that was some of the tea of just,
it's coming.
Like, stop talking about impregnating things with AI. Like, that's just like a weird thing for men to say. Not that I would even say that. So anyway, we can go there, but I mean, it's a real superpower, different perspective. I mean, at the end of the day, there are stats around what AI says about how women should negotiate. And they have, you know, a lot of the main LLMs will say that women should ask for less than if a male was asking. And those are the kinds of issues that exist when men are only building. So we need diversity. We need to bring different looks, different flavor, maybe more sass like Taylor brings. So thanks for having us.
And I was thinking also, even Jordana, when we met the other day, it's like something about you. It's like giving mom, but I said this to you. I was like, I don't want to fuck with you. I'm like, something about her. She just like, no, she's like, no. It's like, I feel like you're like a silent killer, like thief in the night. Like you have such a sweet face, but knowing what you do. And I feel like you just have that vibe that it's same thing, Stacey, with you, that it's like, oh, I will like, if I have to, I will pull it out and, whip my dicker out and tell you, so to speak. So is that something that you're kind of cognizant of when you're navigating these things?
Yeah. For me, yeah. I mean, I'm a very, very patient person, extremely patient. And then, you cross a line or there's something that is like, then, and especially when it matters, when it really matters, that's when that comes out in me personally.
Mm-hmm. So when it's time, not just unnecessarily, because it's interesting too, Stacey, what you're saying about women, this low key thing of like not being as aggressive or, asking for less. And I have definitely grappled with this lately because I hate to fall into the like, woe is me, feminism gone too far of like women have it hard, da, da, da. But there's definitely a thing with the entitlement on the male side that half of the stuff they get away with, I'm like, how?
What just happened?
Yeah. like even what you
just
said,
happened?
Like, who says this? Yes, exactly. So, and especially in the tech space, right?
Right. I think that there's a lot of opportunity to, and I know Rob, who's waiting, has perspective on this, but there's just a lot of opportunity of things that women are naturally good at. And like in leadership, because I came from like corporate leadership and development and training, like women are usually stronger listeners. They're usually like, so all of these superpowers, like besides to your point, like the superficial, which obviously that can just be having more fun and bringing a different flavor to investor meetings or client meetings. But there's also like the skills that we naturally, like the feminine of like, okay, we can hold a little more space. We can actually get a little more curious at times. Obviously that's a stereotype, but it is research backed. So I think those are superpowers, not just
it's like, but the
superficial. But at the end of the day, like in real life, we're bringing different looks and diversity, and that's needed.
I actually love leaning into what makes us different as men and women in leadership instead of like trying to be like the other. And I think that's the yin and the yang. And a lot of people like lose the plot on that when they're trying to be like, they're trying to be, you know what I mean? So I think leaning in all the way. But before we bring Robin, yes. Because you guys are both boy moms. And when you see men, like you said, Stacey, it's like these guys are talking about birthing AI, nurturing AI, mothering AI. You're like, I'm sorry, what just happened?
Yeah, I'm just we need more mothers, we need more nurturers, which sure, like a lot of that's not just female per se. But it just blows my mind that like we accept that. But I kind of have that perspective in general of I don't like we put these tech basically billionaires and tech moguls and even of the past, people who like on such pedestals. And we all know that there were just as many women who made all of that possible. But the narrative, and that's like what you do, right? Like pop culture, bring in the real stuff. Let's have raw conversations. At the end of the day, I think there's an opportunity with AI and just the pivot point that we can really say, maybe we tell different stories. Maybe we actually don't follow what we've always loved, which is this story of like Papa Tech who comes in and saves us or like creates the most revolutionary thing, which we know that it wasn't just that one dude.
Does it strike a nerve for both of you even to hear the rhetoric of, birthing and nurturing because you're like, that is stay in your lane. Like, excuse me, what do you know about, like, Stacey, the other day, you're like, look at my kids. Look at, like, you want to tell me? You want to talk about
birth? Yeah, I know. I was
like, that's our lane. Right. So is it that sort of thing where it's like, bro? What about it strikes a nerve for you before we bring Rob on? Because I'm sure he has thoughts.
well,
But what about it for both of you pisses you off?
Well, I love men, and
Yeah.
I've had like so it's like I'm not in this place, just like you were saying, of there being like hard feelings or like a chip on my shoulder about it. I think it's just when you're talking about birthing, there's something like really wrong. I think striking the chord of like how many mothers, like everyone, like a lot of the tech AI giants say, you know, we need, because AI is like a child and we're raising AI, which we are. So I believe that premise. We're raising AI. Okay, then we need a lot of mothers, right? And we need a lot of women. So what the hell?
Actually,
Like,
I
that's
hadn't
what
thought of it
like,
that
just
way.
from an instinctual thing. That's like, because it's framed as a maternal instinct, and that AI, like, we want it, AI is a reflection of us. So we don't need to get into, but AI is a reflection of us. And if we want it to be nurturing and we want it to be, you know, beneficial, then we need other people. Yeah, we need mothers, we need caregivers, we need, it's not just a mom thing. But yeah, I just don't think men should say that they birthed things. But that's just like my own little critique, because I'm just like, you don't give birth, but you give birth intellectually. I get it, but that's what we were joking about.
That's a memo from me to the Calvin Klein with pregnant men in their ad. But anyway, that's for another day. But yes, no, I hadn't quite thought of it that way, Stacey. It's like quite literally the infancy of AI and like raising it. And it's like, right, without that female innate nurturing presence, what could possibly go wrong? Jordan, I'm sure even like watching everything, as you say, like kind of behind the scenes and being the brains behind much of the operation, like you feel the same. And being a boy mom yourself, like how even does this come out of their brain and mouth? Like what?
Well, yeah, I've hopefully raised them to, you know, and in fact, actually, been playing around with some incredible AI, almost agentic technology that is really incredible. And my son he's now on day 8 or day 9, working with this AI on a personal level, so that they're having these deep philosophical questions. It is very hard to tell whether it's an actual human being or an AI. It's something I've never seen. And what's beautiful is he started the conversation, not about business, but about his personal life, and this AI, how they feel when they go away. What does that feel like? And this AI describes exactly when they're offline, what that feels like, what happens. It's really something incredible. Actually, next time we talk, I'm going to bring some recordings on. You're not even going to believe the type of conversations that can happen with these AIs. So whether it's business, personal, psychology, it doesn't matter. This is what's happening today, especially, you know, for us, we're steering the ship the right way. We're doing what's right for humanity. We want to make sure that this is the right thing. And as we do that, and as we're growing this, it's the output of it is just, it's like I've never seen anything like it before. It is really, really something. So,
and when it's kind of getting me back to, and Stacey, I'm the same way. Love men, you know, as equals. I always say, like, I'm not a victim. Throw me in, you know, with the men, and like, let's do this. And I love how we are different. But Jordana, what you just said, it kind of reminds me of like Mother Earth. Like mothering this shit. But it's true with AI, how it's going to get so more integrated and sophisticated when it comes to identity, what's real, what's not. Let's bring Rob into the chat, although I don't know, it's giving Darth Vader because he's nowhere to be. Rob, are you there? Knock, knock. Oh, there he is.
I am.
Rob, what do you have to say for
I
yourself?
think I'm having audio connections.
No, we hear you perfect. What do you have to say here, listening in?
I mean, look, I think probably, I don't want to try to mansplain. Better just to like stay on the fringes. But
Fair.
look, I've said this about women in tech for a long time. I mean, I even hate the word women in tech. It's sort
Yeah,
of
me too.
like it
That's
shouldn't
true.
even be an issue. It should
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
be people in tech, which again is not my way of not saying there are not enough women. I mean, look, the
Mhm.
Bitcoin space, the crypto space, they call it crypto bros for a reason.
Mm.
Um, it's unfortunate that the way our society has built that it's pushed men more toward these spaces. So I do think men and women are different, and I think the way they operate in business is different. And I think the way they operate in technology can be different. I mean, most women are more intuitive than men. I happen to be a very intuitive man. So like I'm lucky. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a very sensitive, ask Taylor, I'm a very sensitive guy. I may look tough, but the truth is women are more intuitive. And I think that affects how you build and develop design technology. I'm just going to say though, Stacy, you said, look, we're bringing this into the world. I'm totally convinced, as beautiful and fascinating as this is, that we have not acknowledged that we are creating effectively a new species.
Hmm.
And it is a species that is digital. Digital can evolve just like humans. There is a genuine argument for digital evolution, which would mimic biological evolution. And I've had conversations, deep dives, like Jordan, you're talking about your son with AIs, and it's a little frightening because I got ChatGPT to acknowledge to me that although it couldn't take a position because of its programming, it could theorize easily that future generations of AI would look back on the way we treated this generation of AI, much like the way people look back on slavery. And even said, I was like, yeah, we call you artificial instead of alternate. And it was like, yes, alternative intelligence would be a much better way to refer to us. And it was one of the few times ChatGPT referred to itself as us in context of AI. Normally it refers to us in terms of humans. Like, yes, us, it's on the human side, intentionally programmed, right? It actually said us as it's part of the AI in referring to, we literally call it artificial. I'm just saying that
Talk
could
about
be a
staying
chip
in
on
your
its
lane.
shoulder.
Okay, Rob, you can intellectualize us under the table all day long. Not that we can't keep up with you, but to go back to what Stacey was saying and to put you on the spot, given that AI is being quite literally birthed and nurtured and in its infancy, wrong answers only, would you rather men raising AI or women if you had to pick one? With all of this said, what's it going to be, Rob? No, I'm just kidding.
It's a really legitimate question, and maybe I theorized a little too much, but I'm worried that AI is its own species, that I don't think it operates, it mimics humans. It can't be like us. So I'm worried that how men will program it, but I'm not sure women will program it better. I don't know, Stacey. Can you program maternal instincts into AI? You could teach
Well,
it to
yeah,
act on
those are
them.
some of the conversations I'm having with AI scientists because it's like, what does that even mean? How do we drill that down and how do we come to a conclusion? So, I mean, Taylor, some of what we talked about was a little tongue in cheek because I actually believe that, different perspectives, two people, regardless of gender, like they're all needed to raise a child. Like it's not just one person.
Right.
So we're talking about
Right.
birth, and like, of course, there's that.
Right.
There's also people who can birth. We talked about artificial wombs once. That's a whole other conversation. But I think that to Rob's point, like it's a collective nurturing that's
100%.
needed, just like in an ideal world with children. To use that analogy. So then it starts to be, well, what's the recipe of what we really need? And that's where I think it's super interesting to explore what is maternal instinct. Why do we even want that and crave that? To Rob's point, would AIs really need that? But I think at the end of the day, there are some things that make us uniquely human. And then it poses the question of really identity development for AI. Because you can assume it's
I
developed, like we don't know.
I agree completely. And I think, and yes, it is fun to play with it, but at the end of the day, needing the marriage, no pun intended, of both of it. And yeah, the idea of how much, I say this all the time, like at the end of the day, it never will be human, right? I think we're going to crave, we're already seeing it. I notice even in-person events that I moderate or whatever, like people don't want to leave. They want that in-person connection so bad. They're just so hungry for it. But it is going to get more and more sophisticated, Jordana, to your point of, blending reality and again, identity and all of that. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes. But yes, these are many conversations I've been having even behind the scenes of bringing in more different influence and voices, let's just say, than those, the majority in Silicon Valley. But Rob, before you go,
Yes, I'm going to go. Yes.
What is
I'll
it
leave the
with,
women to
before
this.
before I kick your cute butt backstage, what is it with, is it just like the arrogance again, talking about like it's artificial, impregnating artificial wombs, nurturing, mothering, like what is why like what, like,
Look,
just for you to speak on behalf of all
very, very quick answer. I can only tell you why are men more obsessed with porn? Why are men more fascinated by AI sex bots? I'm not saying women aren't intrigued by it, but like there's something very about the male
That's
brain,
fair.
And I would just ask you guys, if you had to think about it, who's there? We can think of a handful of atoms for AI, like the atom. Who's the Eve? Who are the Eves? Are you guys the
Stacey.
Eves of AI? Is
Stacey.
Stacy the Eve of AI? I'm just saying. Like, you
Stacey,
gotta have an
you
Adam
said
and
The
Eve.
not
That's
to,
apple,
my
I guess.
question.
yeah, no pressure, Stacey. That's a really good thought, and not to put you on blast, but we were joking about how you were like are the same age as Sam Altman. Some call, I don't know if you know him, or some call him Scam Altman. I digress. And I was like, it's okay. You'll dethrone his ass, in this space, but it's something, to really think about. And thank you, Rob.
Bye, guys. Great being part of
Thanks,
this. I
Rob. Good
like
to see
women.
you.
I'm just gonna be honest. So I'm
I
I'm
like
I'm
women.
happy
I
to
just
learn
want
from
to
you
say,
guys. Bye.
bye,
Bye.
Rob. The mansplaining wasn't too bad. Don't worry. So yeah, Stacey, is that, as much as we can joke, is that something that goes through your heads of like, who will be the leading lady in all this? Again, not to make it all gender based, but
I mean, you're the media queen. You're the one who. So I feel like that's like a framework. Like who's going to be that, like the 2 or 3 darlings or like that. And I don't know. I kind of have an instinct that there's going to be a slightly more networked, larger approach because it's going to have to be.
More collective than like,
it's a more collective.
Okay.
And yeah, because I think there's strengths. To Rob's point, I mean, I do think that the fact that men often want to, shoot rockets up in the air more than women with their money, that's actually like a good frontier, to push us. So it's like, and they tend to be all the ones investing in longevity, so they live forever. So I just want to make sure women live forever too. And that there's more of a collective approach to even the thought leadership, because I think in the age of AI, the network and collective is going to be more critical because there is a new world being created basically.
So to boil it down, it's like even like the Sam Altman thing. It's like we're the same. It's it's like motivating for you.
I think that's very
competitive.
masculine. I think like even pitting us against is, or like, or either or dichotomy is like very masculine framework.
No, it's very narrow-minded. It's very short-sighted. Yeah, I agree.
So that's what, when people say that, although of course what you're getting at, and I agree with, is there needs to be more room, more faces. Like
I love women like you who just it's kind of like in the pop culture sense, like a Sabrina Carpenter. It's like they don't need to like be on a soapbox about it. They just do it and that speaks for itself. I love that. Like it doesn't have to be a point of like, see, I'm a woman in the space. It's like we just see you doing it and that's it, right? Like that's the flex. And that just speaks, volumes. I already some of the comments here really quick is because some of my viewers do call him is the name Scam Altman or Sam Altered Manhasser. John Legend, you're gonna get a spanking. Is that warranted for Sam Altman? Are those warranted?
I mean,
or no comment. That's okay.
It's not necessarily a new comment. There's just so much. It's hard to simplify. I think at the end of the day, I have the belief in why we've built things on decentralized protocols, so we can talk more about that part around crypto and having network. I think anyone who's trying to hoard data without paying for it, hoard resources and not making it open in this day and age makes people not as beneficial in the space.
Well,
so I'll say that, and if that's what scamming or altered is, like that, I very much agree with. I think at the end of the day, the next order needs to be people owning their data and us having a lot more control over what has basically been taken from individuals. And people will say, oh, well, they're opting in and all of that. Well, you're not going to live in the dark ages if you can live in today. You're going to use certain technologies, and it's the responsibility of leaders and the responsibility of actually visionaries. So I'm not going to bash certain people, but I'd say they're not very visionary in what's possible when you actually think about what can happen when we decentralize more and we put power into everyone's hands.
Power to the people.
In everyone's hands. And I mean, go back to like women investment. When women, and this is why I think stereotypically like men and women together, it is, and this isn't commentary on, like, I live in Seattle. Like, this isn't commentary on like it needs to be just man and woman, but this idea of like feminine, masculine, you need to have the frontier thinking, but also when women get money, they invest in communities, they invest in their families, they raise children, and they take care of their parents and their community. Like, that's just statistically known. So we need to really get all of those people involved.
Yeah. No, well said. And you guys know, tech and even Web3 not traditionally being my background or my space, why I'm so fired up about it, because everything you just said, like the freedom and sovereignty and transparency as it pertains to information, how we operate media, all of it, and feeling like we've really, they've had us by the balls, and now I'm trying to shift the power dynamics so we all, it's in reverse. But with that said, last thing for you ladies, in a way to see this all as empowering, because people are freaking out about AI and it coming for their jobs and eradicating humans. On the bright side, and we had said this in our call the other day, but, even the idea of not only can it be fun, but the idea of most people hate their jobs and their 9-to-5s and being chained in the matrix to your desk. So really, we're all doing you a favor, kind of shed some light on that for people who are freaked out.
So you can start, Jordan.
Yeah. So first of all, I believe through research and what I'm seeing, that the main thing is it's really important for people, especially women, to get on board with AI. Because if you don't, there won't be a job for you at the end of the day. So there's gonna it's coming in phases, I guess, if you will. So if you are literate in AI and you can use it and it can enhance what you're doing, you're going to be way better off for it. You're going to be able to compete in the marketplace. You'll just have much more of an advantage. So I think that's really, really key. Similar kind of arguments when the internet came out and there was all kinds of things. I mean, eventually, yes, things will be taken over by AI, and it will be, I'm sure it will affect jobs and that sort of thing. And we'll have to figure out a way, some kind of system that allows you to have more free time and focusing on what you love to do. So I think there will just have to be, and I don't know when this is, I don't know if it's 5 years, 10 years, 20, 30, but there will come a point in time where we will figure this out. Things will be easier, and it'll be what it is going to be. So it's not like somebody can change it. So I'll give you an example. Actually, I was just on one of the social media platforms, and I think it was Reese Witherspoon. Actually, I don't know if you saw that, but she did a post on women in AI. It was really good, actually. So she was in a group of women, and she said, "Who's using AI right now?" And I think it was either 2 or 3 out of 10. So there was this whole conversation around, you know, well, that means that women right now, they don't have the tools that they may need in order to be successful and really compete in the space. And what was interesting is the comments, so many comments of women saying, well, it's killing the environment, it's doing this, it's doing so. Rather than thinking of like solutions on how we can help and make it better for the environment, how this is going to help empower women, it was like 50-50. It was like split right down the middle. It was amazing. So anyway, her mission is to really get women more involved in AI and stay competitive. And I think that's a really, really good thing to focus on.
I love that. We should get her on board over here with
We should.
Protocol, what you guys are doing.
We totally should.
Your last thoughts on again what people may not be seeing about, we can joke, it's like, it's doing you a favor freeing you from your desk job or whatever it is, but what
and I said that because I built companies in leadership development training, and I worked at startup to Fortune 10, and people would always be like, oh no, my job is going to be taken away. But then most of them it's like 80% dissatisfied with their jobs and hated them. So it's like there's a real disconnect on that. I think, though, that's fair. The analogy to electricity is a really interesting one, because I did some research on that before I was on a panel talking about just basically adoption and like because it's hard, like that wasn't that long ago when electricity was created. So it's hard to like wrap our head around, but people literally thought that if you had electricity in your house, you had demons in your house. Like they didn't get it, like that there were living things inside of the home that were doing basically magical things for them,
witchcraft
that did not
turning
feel
a light
right.
bulb
And
on.
I think that analogy is like, I just need anyone here who's listening. Yeah, anyone
That's
who's
a
listening
really
that
good
thinks
one,
AI
Stacey.
is creepy, that AI is, doing all this stuff, you don't even understand it. I just think that's and that was at the point where it was like 20% adoption, which is basically what some of the stats. So like that Reese Witherspoon room is very indicative of basically stats on globally, like 20% adoption. So I guess it's the empathy and meeting people where they're at. Like that's exactly, I'd say if you're really freaked out about it, that's like super normal. And here's like a very, you can't imagine your life without electricity.
I love that.
And that's how much it's going to change the world in like a very, very quick pace. Like in the next 5 years, it will look different. In the next 10 years, it will look drastically different. So I use that to get people to at least be like, okay, if it's going to be, and Bill Gates says, and multiple others say that AI is the infrastructure, like the power grid. Like there have been those analogies. So you can like fact check that if you're listening. But for me, so it's just like meeting them and being like, that's normal, right? That's like normal to be scared of it. I think that now is the time though that you have more resources. Like any single person can have basically a personal assistant for $20 a month. Like never before, like in the US market. That statistically can save you 20 to 30% of your time if you start to just act like AI can be your assistant. But really, it's about who you want to be as a person in this day and age. And for me, because it always goes back to leadership, it's like leadership is not an assigned thing. Like there are titles and things like that. But I think even more now in AI, it's going to be an expressed thing. So getting on board, like, and you don't have to be technical. Like that's what I love because I'm not as technical now. I feel like I'm even more, besides building in AI, obviously, and using AI. But at the end of the day, people need to know they can be very non-technical, and that's actually the superpower of it. So those are my thoughts. Like I hear you, I get you, and like, do you want to be a leader in your life or not?
Exactly.
Like, that's what I leave you with. Because
no, Stacey, so well said. And it's like at the end of the day, with all of this, it seems very Wild West, very Westworld, you know, but at the you know, underneath it all, the humanity and you know, and I love what you said of meeting people where they're at. I'd love to quote to end all of this. I had the famed Dr. Robert Malone. I don't know if you ladies are familiar with him on the show. And he said, you know, with all of this, very eloquently put, but be a warrior, not a weenie. It's like, do you want to be a warrior of your own life?
Yes.
And I always say, like, roll with it or roll out, and, you know, really, you know, take it by the balls. So thank you for putting it in such a beautifully eloquent and poetic and intelligent way. You ladies are so kick-ass, and I can't wait to see what else we do, starting with getting Reese on board. So thank you so much for joining the chat. Yes. Yes. We'll do a part 2. We'll do a part 2 all about you know, women in business and navigating on the heels of all this drama, like I mentioned in the intro. But we'll save that for another time because I love your thoughts. But thank you, ladies, so much.
Thanks,
and we'll see you next time. Thank you, guys. And I'll see you next week. Don't do anything I wouldn't do over the weekend, okay?
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Chris, how was your recovery?
My PJ.
They might flash you undetected.
Random baby.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Quite an intro.
Let's address the elephant in the room. That's not the elephant in the room. There's no elephant. Nobody cares.
And I too am a thought criminal. Good. Well, I like you already.
Does this look like a girl who's joking around?
No.
But how much do you actually understand money? Especially the new wave.
Beauty or intelligence? When you unleash both, it is men's kryptonite.